Hi, I'm Natalie and welcome back to Be, a video series where we interview amazing women and find out about their career paths and maybe some of the things that they've been stuck with in their life, so that anybody out there watching who's feeling a bit stuck and lost right now might find some direction. So today we're talking with the lovely Amanda. I'm going to hand over to Amanda to tell us what it is she actually does, what's her job title, and what she does in the day.
So I'm Amanda. I am the head of content at Clue, which is a menstrual cycle tracking app. It's a period tracking app, but it's also a website where you can find a lot of great information about menstrual health and sexual health, reproductive health, and that is my role at Clue. So my team produces the content on the website and on social media.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And you have a really lovely story of how you came to Clue, and I'd really love to share that with everybody if you're happy to do that. Yeah.
So I was living in New York City. I was an editor at the New Yorker magazine, which is a big magazine in the States. And I was working on the website, and I was really burnt out. I was working really long days, and I felt just tired all the time, and it was a fantastic job. I loved the people there, I loved the mission, but I felt like I needed to change. And I didn't really know what to do next because media is a really difficult industry right now. So I basically just said, like, who has my dream job? Like, who are the women in the world that I think are really doing cool stuff? And I thought immediately of Ida Tin, who is the founder of Clue, because I was using Clue, the period tracking app, for like 3 or 4 years, and I just loved it. I thought that Clue was a really cool company, that the mission was great, the design was cool, the information in the app was really helpful to me, and I just thought Clue was cool. So then I kind of combined that with, like, okay, well, what can I do? Like, what do I have to offer as a potential employee? And I thought of this idea of kind of taking what Clue was doing in the emails they were sending me and kind of making that a website, like a publication almost. And so I emailed Ida. Actually, I added her on LinkedIn first, because I didn't know her email. And then I emailed her and basically said, like, I'm the biggest fan of what you do. Clue is amazing. I'm on board. You should hire me to do this for you. Like, and then I kind of laid out a few ideas for the website. I also was like, I can run your New York office. Like, I was
really selling yourself. Like,
yeah. I kind of cringe when I think back on that email, but I kind of went all in because I had nothing to lose, which is a good place to be in. And then, remarkably, I heard from her. I heard from her about a month later, and she said she really liked my email and wanted to talk more, that her co-founder would be in New York City, so why don't you guys have coffee? And so I had coffee with Hans, the co-founder of Clue, and then it kind of went from there, and now I'm here in Berlin.
And did it ever, like, I mean, it sounds like you didn't have any fear, like, going into that, so it wasn't like, oh, you know, Clue's in Berlin, in Germany, and I'm in America, there's no way I could, you know, there could have been, like, so many barriers you put, but you're just like, no, I'm gonna go. If they say come to Berlin, I'm going. Did you feel that, or you thought that you were
actually? So I didn't expect that she would actually respond. I really was like, I have nothing to lose. Like, they're not going to respond anyway. So why not just be bold about it? And I'd read a few, like, articles about how you should be, like, bold as a woman. You should, like, really sell yourself. But that is not my, like, instinct. I think at that point I just felt like, why not? Like, there's nothing to lose. I really didn't think that she would respond at all, because I got emails all the time working at the New Yorker, and I never responded to people. But then she did, and I think it's a real testament to her leadership that she's open to new people and new ideas. And so when she actually did respond, I was like, wait, I don't know if I want to move to Berlin. I don't know if I want to do this, actually. It was kind of like, whoa, I guess you should be careful what you wish for.
And are you glad now that you made that move? Like,
totally. In fact, it's funny because I fought really hard to stay in New York. Like, I said, hi, I'll do remote work for you. I'll keep my life in New York, but I'll do remote work for this company in Berlin. And they were like, okay, fine. But come here for a month and get your project started and meet the team and get things going. And so I did. And then as soon as I got back to New York, after that 1 month, I was like, it's pretty clear that I need to move to Berlin. It was hard, though. I mean, it was a hard personal decision to make, but now I'm like totally happy that I did it. So I love it here.
And if you could describe your career path in like 3 hashtags, what would they be?
I think the first is like privileged, really. I mean, I had a lot of great opportunities, amazing women mentors and bosses. A lot of that is like access to like privileged spaces. So yeah, there's just a lot of advantages that I had going into it. And then I think the second thing would probably be no boundaries. Like in that I really didn't have any boundary between my professional life and my personal life at first. I would just work all the time, and that was my whole kind of life. And I think I'm getting better now at creating like boundaries between my personal life and my professional life, because you can burn out really quickly. I don't know. 3 hashtags. Unexpected, really, yeah. I mean, I never expected that I would leave the US to work somewhere. Or work at a startup. That is really new for me. I thought I was going to be like a journalist, an editor, writer my whole life, working in this kind of tough, like, go industry. So being at a startup where like work-life balance is really valued, and where the whole industry is a completely different economic setup from journalism, is something I never expected.
Sure. And I think like in a startup, I work in one as well, I think you really have that your voice is heard more, you have more to bring, and like people actually listen to your ideas and take them on board, whereas I think maybe if you were in a big, media company, you might not feel that kind of thing. So I would love to go back to privilege, and so not everybody will have that privilege. So do you have any advice maybe for girls who don't have those mentors, who don't know the way to, they love to write, but they don't know the way to maybe make that into a career? Like any advice that you would give them to start with, like right now, what could they do in this moment?
So I'll backtrack.
Yep.
So when I was like 15 or 16, I saw this like advertisement for a journalism program for low-income students who were interested in pursuing journalism, but it was at Princeton University, and it was this big-name university that I was like, whoa, I don't think I can get into this. But my family qualified, and I like almost didn't apply, but my mom was like, you really should, like, but I just didn't think this isn't for me. It's for people of color. Like, we are low income, but like I have access to a great public education. I just shouldn't apply. And she was like, just do it and see what happens. And I got in, and then there I found the mentors that really just changed my whole trajectory. They encouraged me to apply to really competitive universities, to take chances, and to kind of believe in myself. And I needed that extra push. And so, yeah, like the privilege that I've had is because I managed to just really push myself to just take a chance on something that I didn't think I would get. It really changed my whole life. So I would say it's important to find people who believe in you, because as girls and women, we are taught really to not believe in ourselves, or to like second guess ourselves, or to think that there's just some other magic people out there who are better than us. And yeah, I needed the push from my mom and from a teacher that I had at my high school who said, like, you're actually like pretty good, like you should give it a shot, why not, And so like I think I needed to be talked out of that kind of internal like limiting myself.
Yeah.
And then doors opened up along the way because I took that one chance. So.
And do you think necessarily for people who maybe want to get into writing, is journalism the track, or are there multiple tracks in different ways? Like how would you advise them, I think, to look into those things as well?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Journalism is a really tough industry to get into, and tougher every day. But I would say social media is honestly the way in. Like, if you love writing, if you love like being on Instagram and on Twitter, like those are totally valid career paths that you should just hone, because every journalistic company, even if you want to get into like books or just kind of the industry of writing, they all need people who know social and who are creative, and so just basically just like finding kind of ways in based on what your skills are and what you like doing, I think is the way to go. But there isn't like a traditional career path anymore. Like there isn't just like, oh yeah, intern at this tiny newspaper and then they'll hire you at the New York Times. Like that just doesn't happen. And they need like young people who are adaptable and resilient and who can learn new things, and like social media, like those are real skills that you can hone and learn. I would say like if you want to be a journalist, like be really good at Twitter, be really good at talking to people, have a really great Instagram presence. Like all of those things are really important in addition to all the kind of reporting skills that you would learn at like a newspaper.
Yeah. So if you would think back to yourself as like a young girl, talking like 13, 14, 15, like what was the biggest fears that you had in life?
My biggest fears. I was like a pretty sad teen. I was pretty depressed. I think I was afraid that things would always be like chaotic and that I would never be good enough. Like that's pretty deep and heavy, but I think a lot of girls feel like really sad. And sorry, the question was like, what advice would I have for myself?
Yeah.
I think honestly, I wouldn't believe it if I had told myself, but like things are gonna be okay. Like you're fine, you're good. Like I think I just thought I was never gonna be like good enough or pretty enough. Really, the pretty stuff really gets to you when you're a girl, like comparing yourself to other girls. I did that all the time. And yeah, I don't think I could have ever imagined that I would feel like this confident in my body. And yeah, I think I would just tell myself that it's all gonna be okay. And just trust that like time heals all things.
Yeah. And I think especially with like social media today, we're very judged, and certainly young girls judge themselves a lot on their appearances. And as you get older, you start to realize like that's totally, I'm not saying it ever goes away, it doesn't, but you can have a little bit more of a overall picture of it really doesn't matter in the day-to-day things. But when you're really in that moment of everybody at school doing the same thing and like liking pictures, people didn't like them, people liked them, and judging yourself on those, it's quite harsh, which I think is something I didn't have to worry about as a girl. And I think that's something that's super hard for young girls today. But I think like apps like yours, like Clue, if you don't have it, you should definitely have it, and we will have a link underneath the video to download it. But it's empowering people with education, isn't it? It's empowering people about differences in bodies and the different body shapes and different breast shapes and different period like lengths and cycles and all of these kinds of things. And I think that's so important. And do you feel like you've gained more confidence and more empowerment in yourself by being here in this company? Like, is that kind of driven you to do that, or did you feel like it was just a natural progression anyway?
Well, I think a lot of Clue's values have empowered me, like both as a user of the app and now that I'm working here. Like, I think it's really powerful to learn how much variation there is among people with the same biology. And we're brought up with so many stereotypes about what it means to be a woman, what it means to have a period. Even like PMS, like something I didn't know before I started using Clue and learning is that a lot of people don't get it. It's these stereotypes about being moody and being angry and irritable, like those are completely sexist. And it's the experience for many people. It's the experience for me, but it's not the experience for everyone. And so, yeah, Clue has been great, like just as a force in the world, I think, for like making you realize like, yeah, like some of the things that you thought about yourself are not true. Or like they're stereotypes or cultural ideas. It's not biology. You're not destined to like be a certain person because you have a uterus. Is that kind of the question you
perfect. And if there's like a young girl, she hasn't started her period yet, she's a bit worried, do you have any advice on like maybe how, like, don't worry, you know, it's going to be fine, but obviously it could be quite scary.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was such a mess with my period. Like, I was totally surprised by it every time I got it, basically until I was like 25 and started tracking my period. It's trial and error. You just have to do it a lot, and luckily you get like hundreds of opportunities to manage your period. And everyone has an embarrassing story, so don't worry about getting your period in like a public place. I don't know. I think I was afraid of like boys seeing like period blood on my butt, but that is not a problem. Like, I've had plenty of boyfriends who have seen me bleed everywhere, so I think don't worry about that. Like, it's totally normal. Don't worry about what people are going to say about you. The best people will never make fun of you for having your period, because it's everyone.
So a massive thank you, Amanda. Thank you for talking to us today and finding out a little bit about what you do and the journey and how you got there. I think it's a really encouraging story for anyone watching to know that sometimes you've just got to put yourself out there, take a risk, do it, who cares? Like, most of the time it probably won't work, but you know, sometimes you will like shoot the target and you will move to another country and have an amazing job. So it's super exciting to hear that it does work and that you should try it. Yeah, so thank you very much.
Thank you, it was really fun.